Good morning. So, the most incredible story I've heard about the placebo effect is from 1957. There was a patient dubbed Mr. Wright and his doctor, Dr. Philip West. And this patient, Mr. Wright, he was considered on his deathbed and had days to live, and he had tumors the size of oranges. And he read a medical report or heard about a drug called Krebbiozin that was supposed to be promising and like a miracle cure for cancer. And so he begged the doctor to give it to him. And the doctor was reluctant and also seemed like this was the only hope. And so he gives him the drug. And 2 days later, Mr. Wright has a miraculous recovery and he's out of his deathbed joking with the nurses. And so he continues to recover. And then 2 months later, he reads a medical report saying that the drug he was given is quackery and doesn't work. So immediate relapse, goes to see his doctor, and the doctor says, "Oh, don't believe everything you read." And he kind of has an idea what's going on, and so he tricks him. He tells him, "Oh, hey, there's this new super refined double strength version of this drug," and so he says, "I'm going to give it to you." And so Mr. Wright says, "Great." And this time, instead of giving him a drug, he just gives him water. So he injects him with the placebo, and again, immediate remission, full, good to go. And then a couple months later, he reads a definitive report saying that the drug he was given is completely ineffective treating cancer, and he dies 2 days later. And so that is just an incredible story to me about the power of our thinking and how the mind and the body work together. In my experience with that, I had an experience where I went on a surf trip to Central America. And when I came back, I was losing weight. And I was also having relationship issues at the time. But I attributed the weight loss to some, digestive thing. Like maybe I got a parasite in Central America when I was there, and it was preventing me from getting enough nutrients. So I'm all, kind of anxious and nervous, and I go see the doctor, and they say, "Oh, well, we'll run a test and we'll find out." And so they do the test, and it comes back, and then the doctor with the white coat and the years of practice in the professional building with the medical practice and all the fancy equipment and the expensive lab that did all the tests, the power of this suggestion telling me that the results were negative was huge. And so I instantly felt relief, and also knew that whatever the issues I was having weren't real, or they weren't physical. There was something up here or in my heart that was leading me to this. And there's another version of the placebo called the nocebo, where when people are told the side effects of a drug or the risks of a potential treatment, they tend to get those symptoms even if they were just given a sugar pill or the treatment was faked. They still had the side effects manifested just because they were told about it. So that suggestion got into their belief system and caused the symptoms to appear. And my own experience was that as I went to a doctor with some pain, and he gives me a prescription. And then I start taking it, and then I go away for a long weekend to Canada. And right away I start having back pain. And this is I'm having relationship issues at the time. And so I have this back pain, and I Google it, I look it up and see something about one of the side effects being back pain for this medication I'm taking. So I'm like, oh, that's it. And so I suffer through the weekend, and I go back to see the doc when I get back, and I say, "Oh, hey, that stuff you gave me, it caused me back pain." And he gives me this puzzled look, and he says, "There's no way that prescription could cause back pain." And I'm like, I'm scratching my head, like, what is going on here? And that led me to Dr. Sarno's work, healing back pain. And one of the stories that I heard or found through them is this story of whiplash in Norway. In Norway, there was an epidemic of whiplash with lots of people coming down with it and having long-term symptoms and pain after an accident. And so there was some question as to why is this going on? What's going on? And so they went to Lithuania and looked at, as a control group, and they looked at their incidence of whiplash. And in Lithuania, they had no real, it wasn't in the culture that whiplash was a thing. And they also didn't have a medical insurance and treatment system to treat the symptoms if they did have whiplash. So there wasn't any kind of an incentive or a system to deal with it. And they found that the Lithuanians had hardly any symptoms like whiplash, or that the idea to them was crazy that you'd have long-term pain or even disability from getting rear-ended. It just wasn't in the culture. Whereas in Norway, it was in the popular culture that this was the thing, and there was also a medical system and insurance system that if you got whiplash, it was covered and they would treat it, and there's a whole system around it. And so that story was also fascinating to me about how belief affects our health. And so for over a year now, all over the world, governments, media, mainstream media, social media, YouTube, Facebook, Google, all the big media have been saying daily that there's a killer virus, that we're not safe, that it's dangerous. It's so dangerous we can't even go outside. It's so dangerous we can't touch each other. It's so dangerous we have to wear a piece of cloth on our face or we're going to kill each other. Just breathing the same air is deadly. On and on. And we go to a store or a building, we see signs everywhere that tell us how dangerous everything is, and we need to take precautions and wash our hands and do this and do that. And then we're told that, we can't do anything until we get a vaccine, and there has to be emergency research done and an emergency exclusion so that the maker of the vaccine has no liability from any side effects. And we've been hearing this story daily, day after day after day after day, from very powerful, well-established institutions. And this is a very, very powerful suggestion. It's so powerful that even if the whole thing is a scam, that people would still get sick. This is what we know and we've learned about the placebo and the nocebo, that the power of suggestion can make people sick. It does. It's indisputed. And so why? Why would we send this message to the entire world? Like what? It just seems very dangerous and like not a very wise plan if we're trying to keep people healthy, to scare the heck out of them every day for over a year, knowing what that suggestion is going to do. And then add to the fact that when doctors have reported any findings that might contradict the narrative, they've been censored. I've seen videos pulled off of YouTube. You go to Facebook, same thing. There's, can't even search in any of the social media, Google, without a little box coming up saying, virus, killer, danger, here's learn how to get vaccinated, whatever it is. But, this constant stream of suggestion telling us that we're unsafe and that we're going to die if we don't do what we're told. This is like, the word for this is programming. So thanks for watching.